that I don't squirrel off to outside of my 10 minutes, which would probably be 15 minutes. So I already told you who I was. I'm a money coach, and my business is the Savvy Finance Coach, and I work with my clients one-on-one to help them be confident and comfortable with money, to gain financial freedom. And with financial freedom, you can live your life on purpose. I brought this sheet here that I'm just gonna reference, but what I would like to do today is actually tell you my story. I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna tell you my story on how I'm able to live my life on purpose. I was able to build my business and become an entrepreneur. I quit my full-time job. So I'm gonna tell you that whole story. And then I am not a business finance coach, but I do my own business finances. And I'm gonna share with you how I do it and the resources I've used to do my business finances. So, like I said, I don't work with clients on business finance, so just full disclosure there. But if you guys are business owners, you know that personal and business really, there's a fine line there, okay? Sometimes they're not separated, sometimes they're barely separated. So definitely I feel like the personal side is going to impact you, especially when you're first starting your business. So I just wanted to share with you, this sheet is a sheet that I created for working with my clients, and it's really a holistic view of your entire financial life. So when I work with people on their personal finance, I actually I'm not a financial advisor. I don't do insurance. I'm not an attorney, or I'm not an accountant. So I'm not doing those for them, but I'm helping them learn about the concepts and find the professionals that can help them in those spaces. And I always want to make sure that they have a whole picture of their finances, but I'm usually working on the foundation with them, getting out of debt, making sure they have enough savings, making sure they have enough in their budget so that they can start contributing to retirement and those sorts of things. So that's what this is. But I'm going to tell you my story. So in 2010 or 11, I think it was, is when we moved to Sandpoint. So it was me and my husband and our 1-year-old son. And at that time, and we both worked for the state of Idaho. So I used to be a forester for the state of Idaho, and my husband is a forester for the state of Idaho. And our combined income at the time was a whopping $76,000. Which, you know, at the time it was a fine income, but it wasn't grand. I went to this conference called Smart Women, Smart Money, and I don't know if any of you have heard of that conference, but it was a phenomenal conference, and it was a motivational, inspirational meeting, and it literally transformed my life. And at that conference, I went to a seminar, and I don't remember if it was a goal-setting seminar or if it was like a getting out of debt, but I went to one of the breakout sessions, and I remember the first time I wrote down all of our debt on a piece of paper. And it was $65,000. So we had student loans, we had 2 car loans, and we had maxed out our credit card. The credit card that we kept saying, like, oh, we'll pay it off at the end of the month. Oh, we'll pay it off at the end of the month. And that was the first time I had actually seen it all together and added the numbers all up. Because, you know, they were over here and over here and over here. So I didn't really know what the whole picture was. At that conference, I made a goal to pay off the credit card. I didn't know how we were going to do it. I knew nothing. All I knew is that we were going to pay off that stupid credit card because it was really stressful in our marriage. Fast forward, we ended up paying off all of our debt. It took us 6 years. Got to know Dave Ramsey. Some of you are probably very familiar with Dave Ramsey, so used his principles to help us do that. We looked for help outside of that. Weren't really able to have anybody help us in our getting out of debt journey. But we did get out of debt. We bought a house. We ended up, after we paid off the debt, we were able to pile up a whole bunch of money so that we could put a down payment on a house. We bought a house. Unfortunately, I got divorced, so we did get divorced. But what I learned from that was how important it was to be financially independent, because I was now a single mom and didn't really have anybody else to rely on for income. I used those same principles that I learned through our previous journey to stay out of debt, to buy a house, to pile up enough money so that I could quit my W-2 job and have a big runway so that I could start my focus, not start my business, I'd already started my money coaching business, but to become a full-time entrepreneur and to start my business and run my business. That has turned into my purpose. So the foundation that I put in place with my personal finances has allowed me to start this business where I get to use my passion as my profession and help other people and other women with their money. And so that's what I try to help my clients with, discover what their purpose is, and help them build a financial plan so that they can live their life to that purpose. Really quick, I talk about financial freedom, and I talk about life on purpose, and I wanted to just juxtapose. So a lot of people use financial freedom and financial independence synonymously, and I actually don't. So I think there's a difference. So a lot of people think, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, I'm finally going to be good with money. I'm finally going to have made it. I'm finally going to have financial independence. And that's where we have so much stress in our life, because we feel like we are striving to get somewhere that we're not there yet. But you can have financial freedom now, and that's just knowing that you have a plan in place that is getting you there. So it's kind of like you have the freedom of knowing that your finances are kind of on autopilot. You have confidence and you have clarity with what you're doing with your money, and then you can do other things. You can spend more time with your family, you can focus on your career, you can travel, you can do whatever it is that lights you up. So that's my story in a nutshell, and kind of how I got to where I am today. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and I never in a million years thought I would be doing what I'm doing and not having the regular W-2 job with the benefits and all that stuff. And so I get to coach people. Like I said, I don't do business finance, but I do all my business finance myself. I'm hoping someday in the future I don't have to, because it's actually not my favorite thing to do. But I wanted to share with you something that I learned through my training, and is this book, Profit First. Are any of you guys familiar with this? So this book, Profit First, Mike Michalowicz, it's a hard name to say, sorry if I got it wrong. I just want to go over the principles that he coaches in this book. So really, really brief overview. I highly recommend this book if you're not already feeling very confident in your business finance. Like I said, there's a fine line between personal and business, and I actually run my personal business, between personal finance and business finance. I do my personal finance very much like I do my business finance. I love to bucket, envelope, categorize. It really kind of helps keep things simple for me. And that's what his process does. It helps simplify your finances. So he talks about it in terms of like plates. So like if you have a large plate of food, you're going to eat all of your food. But he talks about separating your plates. So if you have this large business bank account and you go, oh, I have $5,000 in my bank account. I can spend $5,000 on this new thing. But really, you need to be making sure that you have money for you. Your business is there to give you money, to pay you. Your business also has to pay taxes, and you have other expenses in your business that you probably need to be paying attention to. So he talks about categorizing, or like using what you might think of as envelopes. So I think categorization, envelopes, or buckets. You can kind of use all those terms synonymously. But these are the buckets, and the buckets are actually, they're literally bank accounts. So, and trust me, you guys, it's not that complicated to have multiple bank accounts. So what you want to do is divide you have your income coming in, and I hope you should all be able to see this, okay? Mm-hmm. So this is your revenue that's coming in, your raw revenue that's coming into the business, and these are the buckets that you're going to want to put that revenue. And you're dividing that 100% revenue into different percentages based on these different categories. These are the minimum categories that he recommends, but you might have other things, like you might have people that you're paying, so you might have salary that you need to set aside, you might be saving for some big equipment, you might have like some sort of escrow account if you're taking deposits, those sorts of things. But these are the core four. So you want to set aside some money for profit. You guys work hard in your business, okay? You did not start a business because you just want to help the world and you don't give a crap if you get any benefit from it. You want money, okay, too. You gotta pay your bills, you gotta go on vacation, you wanna have some fun, and you need to take care of your needs. So give yourself some profit. He recommends, I recommend just start with 1%. But you can go, if you're starting, 5% is a good number to shoot for. You also wanna pay yourself. If you guys have something a little bit greater than a jobby, if you haven't heard the word jobby, that's a job that's a hobby. So if you want your job to be more than just a hobby, you really should start setting up your banking so that you're an actual business. And that means giving yourself a paycheck. So set a certain percentage aside to pay yourself. You're gonna have to pay taxes. Set money aside for taxes now. I know a lot of people that screw themselves over because they didn't set money aside for taxes. And then of course you have operating expenses. So that's just in a separate bucket. So what you can do with these buckets is it's called bank balance accounting. So you can pull up your phone and you can say, how much money do I have in my operating expenses account? And you're not always gonna have to call your bookkeeper or your accountant if you have questions on whether or not you have enough money to spend on something. Establish consistency. So this isn't something you do every time revenue comes in. Every time you get $100 or whatever. You wanna do it, so he recommends twice a month, but you can do it maybe weekly. That's probably the most you wanna do it, just to kind of make it so it's not too complicated. But a couple times a month, or maybe weekly, you are going to see how much revenue has come in and you're gonna funnel them to the different buckets. And then you're gonna wanna adjust as you get used to this process. So you might talk to your accountant or your bookkeeper and they're gonna say you need more money for taxes or you need less money for taxes, and then you can adjust the percentages as you go. And then definitely take your profit bonus. You're supposed to take the profit bonus once a quarter. So take that money out of the business, buy something nice for yourself, buy some shoes. Maybe you wanna use it to pay off personal debt, but really it's there for you to give yourself a bonus for working hard as the business owner. So anyways, I can't recommend this book enough. I highly recommend that you check it out. And then the last thing I wanted to say, this is one of my favorite phrases. Your life is a direct result of the actions that you take or you don't take. So I think that's really important for you to keep in mind is you need to hold yourself accountable. So yeah, your life is a direct result of the actions you take or don't take. And I hope that some of the information I shared today will inspire or motivate you to take some action so that you can live your life on purpose.